Hello there, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the From Cameras to Couches podcast. I am your host, Zach Davis.
And I am your co-host, Emmy Davis, and that is Darcy at the door,
She's
scratching and barking.
Desperately trying to get into this room as we record. This is our parents' dog. She is so sweet, but she is a little high strung, and she loves to be in the same room as people. So she's very desperately trying to get in here, but when she gets in here, she doesn't want to get out.
She just wants to leave. We've tried like 3 times.
She wants to get out. She wants to just
get out.
It's ridiculous. So
That's
now
a good movie.
we've blockaded the door. Get Out is a good movie. Thank you, Jordan.
There's a person out there with her. Danny's here.
Yeah, Danny.
She's
is
not
here.
just
Danny
alone.
Is holding it down. So anyway, enough about the lifestyle of our house. But we've been watching some movies for the past couple of weeks. We've been a little behind on our upload schedule, I know, but we've got some stuff to catch up on. There was a big heavy bomb in the middle of the week this week that really kind of motivated me in a lot of ways because I was just sitting chewing on it. But we'll get around to that in a little bit. But we do have some stuff to talk about this weekend. Emily checked out the last Showgirl, which is Gia Coppola's most recent movie or debut movie.
I'm gonna be blatantly honest. I'm not entirely sure. I think that it might have been like one of her first big projects. I wish I'd looked into her a little bit more. I am, as you guys know, a Sophia fanatic, but don't know much about little sis there, and don't know that I'll be really following along too closely with that career, to be blatantly honest.
But from what I understand, that's plenty reasonable.
I'll have more to say on the last Showgirl.
Maybe she's just a really good actor-director.
She, if I remember correctly, I think that she's done like music videos, like Jessie J music videos and stuff like that. Like,
well, that would certainly try.
It was, I don't know. It was interesting. I mean,
it's.
We'll talk about that movie later.
Yeah. So we're gonna talk about that. Emily's also gonna talk about One of Them Days, which is a recent Keke Palmer and SZA movie that just came out and is hugely popular this weekend.
So fun.
I did not get to check this one out just yet, but I've been hearing really good things about it, so I am gonna see it at some point. And then we'll be talking about The Brutalist, which we checked out on Wednesday this week. We went to the IMAX premiere of it in Knoxville.
What a blessing.
Yeah.
I went to see One of Them Days the very next day, and I walked into that theater, and I was like, this is a teeny little screen.
Yeah.
And then I watched something at home, and I was like, wow, I guess I need an IMAX theater
in my household. Yeah. It's
turns
incredible.
out I do like the big TV.
It's very, very, very good. So yeah, we will talk about The Brutalist a little bit later in this show. But first, we have to go over some news, and I'm going to start this off with one that has been everywhere since it happened, but David Lynch passed away at 78 years old. This really sucks. I'm not, I do not have a huge relationship with David Lynch, but his influences are stuff that I know very well.
I don't know that I've actually seen any of his movies.
Yeah, like Blue Velvet and Mulholland Drive, and he's probably most commonly known for Twin Peaks.
And Eraserhead, right?
And Eraserhead, yeah. But he's just like this very psychological.
He's a weird little guy.
He liked to explore like very deep psycho themes, and I think everything that I've seen by him with him is incredible, and it's a real damn shame that he's passed. But he was he's definitely a great one, and I think his legacy is going to be well told throughout the years. So shout out to Mr. David Lynch. Rest in peace, my brother.
Why'd you laugh like that there?
I don't know. Something about saying shout out to somebody that just died.
Oh. I was looking at the snow outside. I got a little distracted.
Yeah, we are getting some snow out here.
Okay,
I was
movies.
looking at it earlier. The trailer for Until Dawn.
Wasn't this a video game?
Yes.
What did you
So this is one of a series of announcements that was done by Sony for live action adaptations of many of their properties. Supposedly, they recently did a animated TV series that was done by the folks that do Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots, which is
yeah. It's that one
it's called Secret Level.
It's like all the different stories and stuff.
From what I understand, it's not very good, but a lot of people watched it.
I hadn't heard anything about it since it came out, so that doesn't surprise me.
I heard it was very, very popular.
But this looks good. Or it looks entertaining, I will say. Not good. But
It'll be interesting to see how that's done. So all of that to say, Secret Level was renewed for a second season. Until Dawn movie was announced, which is going to be interesting. I don't know how that'll work.
Did you like the
I don't
game?
trust it.
Or
The game is a fun like party game. It's one of those things where you kind of want to experience it at some point.
Did we play this game?
No, we did not.
Okay,
We played one of their other games, The Quarry.
That's what I was
and we
thinking.
did not ever get through it, which it's substantially worse. Anyway, so the Until Dawn game was announced, the Secret Level Season 2 was announced, and a Helldivers 2
Until
adaptation.
Dawn movie. Helldivers 2 adaptation?
Starring Chris Pratt was also announced. So
Why?
the interesting thing about Helldivers is that it's basically Starship Troopers. So
No, that's
we've come full circles, and we're gonna make a Starship Troopers movie.
with Chris Pratt.
Yeah,
What did
I
they say?
I don't know. I can certainly hold out hope for this one.
What's
I think
the Helldivers
this has
like?
the best chance of the three.
Liberty! Is that it? For liberty.
Democracy. Yeah, liberty. They're all about it.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, it's gonna
We
be
got a
fun.
game based on a movie, and they're making a movie based on that game.
Yeah, I really love Helldivers. I can't complain, but it'll be a weird movie. I don't think that will land very well. But
More
you know,
news.
it's Sony stuff.
More
Anyway,
news. I see this on the docket. Can I say it?
moving on. Yeah.
My beautiful baby girl, Nora, she is going to be joining the Criterion Collection in April.
This is a really wild move.
This
I
is a
don't know
weird
what to
pick.
think about this because
But I don't care because I want it.
a movie that premiered this year, or I guess last year, is showing up in the Criterion Collection already before the Oscars is when this announcement comes out. I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
thought that was
supposed to
a
be
really-
like just a very virtue signaling move
It
of
was a very interesting pick.
A24.
Cover is gorgeous.
Yeah, cover is really cool. It's really good. That'll be fun. I think that's actually the physical versions of that are coming out in April. Is that what I heard? They
Well,
were shipping in
Criterion
April.
Collection is April, yeah.
Yeah. It's gonna be
I
awesome.
didn't know if you were just talking about like physical copies of Nora.
Oh
I was
yeah.
like, I
Well,
think
no,
you can already get those.
just the Criterion copy of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Timothy Chalamet went to the London premiere of
I
Complete
saw
Unknown on a Lime bike.
This is somehow this is
great
better to
move.
me than
Great move.
Andrew Garfield with the Florence Pugh cutout. I think that this is entirely fitting for Timothy Chalamet. He is in his, I mean, not that he hasn't been an It Boy, but like, I don't know. He's just a goofy little guy, and he's just kind of coming into his own.
He's got his in. He's got his in right now because
I
he's
thought you
just
said he's
been.
got a zen.
Well,
I was like, he's
He
in it.
probably does. I would
I
not
mean,
be
he's a cool
a
guy.
bit surprised. He's definitely hitting all like the hit points. Like
Yes.
we already talked about like
The Nardwuar interview,
Nardwuar
and
interview
Brittany Broski
and
and stuff like that.
the whole press release for
Yeah, I guess we
Complete
did discuss
Unknown.
this
I mean,
a little bit, but like he's just really killing it right
he's
now,
on the
and I
in right
appreciate
now,
that.
and just continuing that in, he shows up on a rented bike to the premiere of his movie
And I
awesome.
love that.
Awesome, great move.
What a guy.
I just wanted to mention.
Imagine seeing him riding past you on a Lime bike on the way to the premiere.
Is that Timothy Chalamet?
Is that Timothy Chalamet? Is that Bob Dylan?
I just saw him on Instagram. Okay, let's talk about some box office numbers because this weekend is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
For starters, one of them days is top of the box office this weekend.
This doesn't surprise me. It was
$11.6 million.
really
on the opening
fun.
weekend.
People love Keke Palmer. I am people. People love SZA. I am again people. It was really fun. This movie was made for me and Maddie. We were dying the whole time.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things about it. So
There's
I'm
like
looking forward to checking it
one of
out.
the first scenes is the two of them in a car together, and the conversation that they have. Literally, Maddie and I were looking at each other, and we were like, we could have like recorded one of our conversations, and it would sound very similar to this.
Yeah.
I love it. It was good. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm definitely.
I can see
definitely
myself
looking
watching
forward to
it
seeing it.
again. Comfort movie.
I've enjoyed the trailer every time I see it. I mean,
I don't think I really paid attention to the trailer. I try not to.
yeah, I
walk
understand.
out
Like
for
kind of
trailers.
toning out. When you see so many dang movies, you see all those trailers all the time. It's ridiculous. Okay, Mufasa was number 2 at the box office with 11.5 million. It almost beat One of Them Days. People are still seeing this movie. I don't know if it's just like because they're looking for things to do with their kids on the weekend.
There's also nothing else like kid friendly out really.
Yeah,
Except for Sonic 3.
Except
which
for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, which is 4th at the box office this week with $8.6 million.
maybe we're just seeing a resurgence of parents taking their kids to the theater.
Yeah, maybe. I think this probably happens like at some very high periods over the course of the year because the theaters are generally just looking for revenue-making movies. So they're going to keep, Moana 2 and
Right. Yeah, Moana 2 was
Mufasa
there
in theaters for
forever.
like,
Is it
it's still there.
Oh.
It's still in theaters.
Gosh. Moana 2, Mufasa, Gladiator 2, and Wicked, I think, are all still showing at the AMC.
And they're all like some of the highest grossing movies of the year. And
Like,
that's just them
The
pumping
Wild
out revenue.
Robot was in theaters for in our theater for no joke, like it felt like 6 or 7 months.
Yeah. Yeah, they have a lot of stuff that they just continue to do like that, but hey, who am I to judge? I'm not making millions of dollars off of it. Yeah, Mufasa has 205 million total now. Sonic has 216 million total. Wolfman was third at the box office with 10.5 million opening weekend. I've heard very middling things about it, but I am going to be seeing it later, so I'll be cutting in my conversation about Wolfman.
Have you seen the original?
The original Wolfman? No, I have not.
Okay.
I didn't know there was an original Wolfman,
If I'm
to be
not
completely
mistaken,
honest.
this is like a remake
monster?
of a
Okay.
cult classic kind of deal.
Okay. Yeah, I was not aware
I
of
could
it.
be completely wrong.
No, but I honestly was not aware of it, and I haven't looked into it, but I've heard very middling things about this one.
It's got the Ozark girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
honestly,
I've
there were
seen
some
this trailer a lot, and it just...
There's some bold sequences in the trailer, but yeah, we have seen it a lot, and I don't know how I feel about it.
I will say I do manage to jump every time because of the noise that it makes when he, like...
When she does the windshield wipers?
Yeah. Because of the noise it makes. It's like this weird, like... You know, the horror movie noise.
Yeah.
And every time.
I
know it's coming. I know there's a jump scare.
It's so hard to find the right way to sell a horror movie to people off of a trailer. Because you can't do it without one. And you have to show some of the best stuff in the trailer, which then ruins
I feel like that
the
just
movie
happens with
experience,
most
but
trailers.
Yeah, that's just... It's... That kind of marketing is just a whole different world. Anyway... Den of Thieves 2 also opened this weekend and hit 6.6 in the box office.
What is this? What is Den of Thieves?
A heist movie, I believe, that was a Netflix movie. I'm not 100% on that, but I think it was a Netflix release. And then there's this big sequel, which I'm hearing is substantially worse than the first one.
Oh, it do be like that.
Yeah, sometimes that's just how it goes. But yeah, Den of Thieves 2 is in theaters now. Congratulations to the Den of Thieves
stuff.
game.
Way to go, Den of Thieves.
Okay, let's just talk about the stuff that we've seen this weekend now. So
okay, I know you're dying to talk about the Brutalist.
I'm holding myself back on the Brutalist, even in the conversation that I'm going to have.
No, okay. So I'll do like a quick 2 minutes on both of these movies that I saw. Starting with The Last Showgirl. I saw this like a week and a half ago now, and I've seen a lot of movies since then. It didn't really stick out to me. I think I rated it like maybe 3 stars on Letterboxd because the last 30 minutes were really good. Dave Bautista's really good. Pamela Anderson is outstanding. I think that she was like built for this role. It's about, obviously it's about this showgirl in Las Vegas, and she's like the place is closing down, like where she works. She's worked there her whole life. And like there's this daughter relationship, but like it doesn't really work out well because they throw a lot at you in the first like 10 minutes of the movie, and then they just kind of it just doesn't work. The script was messy. There was not a clear vision until the last 30 minutes, and that was actually after I think that they had taken the daughter storyline out. Maybe it kind of let the clutter out a little bit and it flowed a little better, but there was this part at the very end where I guess the daughter like said that she might come to her mom's show or something like that, and then she doesn't, but she appears there, and like the daughter had talked about dreams of being a photographer, and she's got a camera on, and I was like, okay, so she's not actually there. I don't know, it was weird. And then afterwards there was a Q&A with Pamela Anderson and Jamie Lee Curtis that was live streamed from where, I'm not entirely sure.
That's kind of cool they did that.
It was very cool. But the interviewer was asking the interviewer was asking all the wrong questions. It was just not a great Q&A at all. And also, the audio was not there for the first, 5 minutes.
Oh, yikes.
And once it cuts in, some people might have heard about this, but literally the audio cuts in, and it was the night that all those fires hit LA, and Jamie Lee Curtis is comparing it to Gaza. And I was like, what's happening right now?
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was a really chaotic interview, and it was kind of a fitting end to that movie.
Let's just talk about the movie and not about current events.
No, I was not. I think I I know that I left before the interview was over. I'm not sure how much longer it was, but I was
Yeah,
like, I can watch this from the comfort of my own home with the fast forward button.
Yeah, that's a lot.
So,
That's a lot.
Gia Coppola, I really just need you to get it together. Oh, I will say about this, Jason Schwartzman shows up in the last 5 minutes, and he has just a really fun little cameo.
A family man.
He's playing the casting director for, like, obviously she's trying to audition for this new show, and he's playing the casting director, and, like, his face is, like, so heavily shadowed, like, you can't really tell it's him, but...
it's him.
But you know it's him. I don't know. That was very fun. All in all...
That mole casts a whole different shadow.
I feel like... I feel like that movie was kind of like my summation of it, just kind of chaotic and...
Yeah, that's the most I've ever heard about it, and that's the most I think I ever need to hear about it.
No, like, it's not...
I did
if you
read
like
a
Pamela
summation
Anderson,
of it on...
If you like Pamela Anderson, I recommend watching it because
Yeah.
she really, like, one of my friends from work loves Pamela Anderson, and I was like, you would like this movie. Like, if
Yeah.
you followed her life and you like her story, this was like a role made for her.
Yeah. It's a bummer when stuff like that doesn't work out. And
Yeah, I mean, because just really great performances all around.
Yeah.
But what's her name?
It's so tough. I mean, the whole bones of
I think
the
Brenda
success
Song
will be
was in
based
it?
off of.
And then the girl that plays Sabrina in Sabrina the Teenage Witch, she's got a weird...
Yeah,
I always want to say Kieran Culkin, but that's just absolutely not right. It's
Kieran Culkin?
Well, I mean, it's something like that.
She looks like Kieran Culkin?
No,
or
that's her
is
name
like that?
looks like Kieran Culkin.
Okay. Well, that's a shame. And honestly, like...
Kiernan Shipka. That's
Kiernan
what
Shipka.
Kiernan Shipka.
I'm amazed that people of, I don't know, of family lines can just, like, get the budget to do something like that and just fail at it. And I'm curious to see, like, how she'll move forward from
They
this
filmed it
experience.
in, like, 2 weeks or something crazy. Like,
Yeah.
they rushed it. It just, it's okay.
Yeah.
Not everyone can be Sophia.
She certainly gave
And
it
I
hell.
mean, hey, my expectations were also very high because I love the Coppolas.
Yeah, well, they've been having a rough stint here lately, aside from Sophia, and hopefully she has several good years of good stuff.
Kendrick.
I'm curious to see what she's working on next. Do you know what she's have there been any rumors surrounding what she's gonna do next?
I feel like I haven't really seen anything. I mean, she's
Yeah.
done a lot of stuff lately with,
Might
like,
do
her
some digging
book,
into
and
that.
I mean, obviously she is always just promoting fashion stuff and such.
She's on top of it.
She is queen.
Well, how about One of Them Days?
One of Them Days was great. I love movies with, like, the set time, like, 24 hours of chaos, and that is exactly what this is. Keke Palmer and SZA are roommates. Basically, SZA's boyfriend stole their rent money, and they're getting evicted. They have, like, 6 hours to get the rent money, or they're getting kicked out. And then it ends up, like, escalating so much more, and there's, like, gang involvement. And Keke Palmer has this crush on this one guy. What do they call him? Maniac?
It's a second act of a Nora movie.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love stuff like that.
No,
Like,
that's
what After Hours by Martin Scorsese
Yes.
is. Like, it's
yes.
just
And it does, like, a really fun, like, timestamp thing where it'll be, like, 4 hours and 59 minutes until eviction, or eventually once things
love
start
stuff like that.
escalating, it's like 3 hours and 10 minutes until certain death. Like,
who directed that? Do you know?
I don't.
I'll look it up real quick.
That's
You
one
just
that I
keep
have.
talking.
That was one I really went into blind. I was just kind of like, oh, I didn't know SZA was in that movie, and I was like, I'll go see SZA. Great. I love it.
I've been seeing trailers for it for a couple of weeks. So when I saw that it was in theaters here, I was very much looking forward to seeing it.
It was very fun. I recommend anybody go see it. I think it's, well, not anybody. It's
Rated R.
It's rated R, and it's funny though. It's really funny. Oh my gosh. Keke Palmer cracks me up when I have always loved watching interviews of her, and she did that thing for like a couple years where she was like, and the gag is, I think she's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's that clip of her and,
She is really
oh my gosh, the Shirley from Community, and they're doing like some game show or something, and they have to use like one word to figure it out. I don't know. She has to tell her a word, and she has to guess what the prompt is or whatever. And the prompt is Titanic, and she just goes, Rose. And like she keeps like the way she looks at her, she's hilarious. I love you, Keke Palmer.
Oh, Issa Rae produced this.
Oh, that makes a lot of sense.
American Fiction and Barbie last year.
That makes very, very much sense.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Cat Williams was in it.
Oh,
Maud Apatow.
Gotta love Cat. I remember seeing him in the trailer a couple of times. He's awesome. Man, Cat Williams, he's a joy. Yeah, I've heard nothing but good things about this. I've heard it's been really well received. I mean, clearly the box office reflected that with 11.6 opening weekend.
I think I rated it
incredible,
like 3.5 stars. But
yeah,
it's not anything.
Yeah, I mean,
perfect,
comedies typically land there.
It is very much like one of those movies you can turn on with your friends and just have a good time.
Yeah,
it's a good movie.
Honestly, I've been appreciating a lot of how comedies age with watching so many Mel Brooks lately.
Yeah.
I've been just kind of blasting through a lot of Mel Brooks lately, and just
you had Young Frankenstein on the other day, and I was
I got
locked
a
in for the
Blu-ray
last
copy
2
of it.
minutes.
It's so
Oh my
incredible.
gosh, when she
It's incredible.
I can't.
The first half of that movie, it opens slower than some of his other stuff, but then it just immediately starts hitting you with nonstop punch after punch.
When
it's
Igor
so good.
started like
Igor.
hitting Igor. Oh, that's right. It's
They just
Igor.
pronounce
It's
him
Igor, and he starts hitting on the lady right after. I can't. That cracked me up.
Incredible.
I watched
Incredible
like seriously
stuff.
like maybe 15 minutes of that movie, but I was
It
like,
is-
oh, it's over.
It is absolutely.
No.
I would watch that with anybody. There is like some very poorly aged sexual comedy, but I mean, you typically find a lot of
Such
that
is
stuff,
life.
especially with the Mel Brooks stuff. Danny and I watched the 2005 version of The Producers last night because he had never seen it.
That
I introduced him to
is
that.
one of my favorite movies. That was actually one of the first movies that we watched on Vudu.
Yeah, I watched
Uma Thurman.
I watched
you
parts of the
kidding me?
1969 version of The Producers, and Gene Wilder plays
Mm-hmm.
Matthew Broderick's character in that one, and I almost can't go back to the 2005 version after it now.
Really?
It's because like it is a perfectly good musical.
Mm-hmm.
I really enjoy a lot of the numbers from it, and just like the Mel Brooks comedy throughout the whole thing, the satire of it is just wonderful, and that's right up my alley. But the 1969 version of it feels so much more authentic, and the 2005 version of it feels like it's just trying. Like
they're
Matthew
trying to
Broderick, I
recapture.
want you to do exactly what Gene Wilder did.
Okay,
in
they're
this
trying
scene.
to like recapture the magic and not giving like any
And
artistic.
yeah, like if you see the way that Gene Wilder is like, give me back my blue blanket, or I'm hysterical and I'm wet, and you cannot go back.
I'm hysterical and I'm wet. Wow, now we have to watch The Producers.
I know, dude. I watched it last
love
night. I was
The
having an
Producers.
absolutely great time with it. Anyway, it's just been interesting to see like that, and I've been thinking about that a lot in context to a lot of comedies that I've seen in the past several years of how there's a lot of like timely references, and even like something like South Park, which is, you know, a consistently steady thing that just mocks the time that it's in. How does that age really well?
Right.
And sometimes for people that haven't experienced those things, it's a very impenetrable thing unless you know about it ahead of time.
No,
Or learn about it through that, which some people are open-minded enough to do. But it's interesting. It's just a thought that I've been expanding on in my head. Dig this.
I can't really think if there was anything like this in one of them days, but I really do hate when movies do that thing that shows their age so specifically.
Yeah, for sure.
Where it's like they're texting on Snapchat or something like that. Like
Yeah.
that's just annoying to me. Like just
yeah.
Like I get like that's kind of a bad example, but like when people like the COVID thing, like when
Yeah.
people are wearing masks in the shows and all that
Yeah,
I don't
that's-
know. I don't like being rooted to that timeline,
Yeah.
like to that specific.
I think a modern period piece is just a weird place to land.
And it's like
But
they kind of make
overall,
a show
like,
of it, like in trying to be like hip and inclusive.
Yeah.
But in 5 years, that's not going to be hip at all. And
I think when
results
it's
saying
done poorly, I totally agree
right,
with
that's
you.
kind of
totally
that's more of what I'm saying, I
yeah.
suppose.
Because there are some examples of that I like. It's interesting to see how the iPhone in movies has changed in the past like 4 years, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't done my research on it, but I would assume it has something to do with Apple's ability to either be financially involved with the movie in some way, shape, or form, or just to have like a public open source way of putting marketing into these movies without really having to pay for it. I don't know.
I just found a can of Zins in these pants that I just washed.
That's awesome.
4 Zins gone. Goodbye, beautiful boy.
Soapy Zins. Rest in peace. Okay. Let's
yes.
let's move on.
I don't
to
even know
The Brutalist.
how much I can say about this movie.
I really don't either. I wrote some things down just to keep myself relatively confined, but at the top of this, I do want to say that this is a movie that I would strongly advise you to go watch in a theater as soon as you possibly can.
I liked that, a lot of people have been comparing it to Oppenheimer, just kind of as the serious man piece that came out this year.
Yeah.
I like it a lot more than Oppenheimer.
Yeah.
A lot more than Oppenheimer. And Oppenheimer's great.
Yeah. I definitely agree with it. It has the feeling of being like a landmark kind of thing like Oppenheimer was last year. And if that's the selling point for you to go see this movie, I highly recommend that you do it as soon as you can. So this is a movie directed and written by Brady Corbet and his wife Mona Fastvold. Their last movie was called Vox Lux.
His wife did it with him.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Their last movie was called Vox Lux. I haven't seen it. I would assume that like not a lot of people have. I heard it was not very good overall. But Brady was an actor for a while, and it's been commonly talked about how his choices of directors were like very smart. He made very good moves with people that he wanted to be involved with. And once he got out of acting, he started directing, and he premiered his first movie, which was something children. There's children in the title. I can't remember what the rest of it is, but he did that. Then he did Vox Lux. Then he's made The Brutalist. The Brutalist was made on a $10 million budget. It was shot in VistaVision, which
it's gorgeous.
It's quite lovely. VistaVision is I mean, it's something that hasn't been used in a mainstream film in a long time. People have still been shooting on it, and a lot of foreign stock was used on VistaVision after 1961, which was the last time a Paramount movie shot on VistaVision. But it looks incredible. It really adds like this. I don't know, like frame comfort that really makes these shots so eye-popping.
The colors are just outstanding.
This movie is 3 hours and 35 minutes long. It includes a 15-minute intermission.
Thank God.
Yeah, it definitely needs it, and it's right at the halfway point. It is exactly dead in the middle of the movie. And
The Childhood of a Leader is the title you were looking for earlier.
Childhood of a Leader.
Sorry.
Thank you.
I got distracted on IMDb.
Yeah, but it's unbelievable. It's really a great and monumental piece of filmmaking, and a lot of the marketing for this movie has been how grandiose, how monumental, how huge, but it really is. It really is
an American epic.
It is truly in line. I've been thinking more and more about something like Paul Thomas Anderson's The Master. The more I've been like reflecting on this movie with the character aspect of it, but the like massive architecture aspect of it is also just like it.
And
incredible.
I love that it's so. What a perfect time to start to make a movie about an architect who does like modern, like the mid-century modern, like very, very American builds, and like I guess not so much American as it is European actually. But
yeah, and that's where the themes of this movie come in. What like really make this movie so wonderful and terrifying and amazing.
I went into this movie and I was tired, and I was like, oh my gosh, 3 hours and 35 minutes. Am I going to stay awake? I did. I got so locked in as soon as that library got built.
Oh,
give me 15 of them right now.
That sequence there's so much to talk about this movie, and I'm trying to keep myself like flying close to the ground so I don't spoil it for most people, because I truly do just recommend going and seeing this. And
it's just beautiful. Like,
I will warn you, it has some heavy sexual content, and that's pretty much like the most of the rated R side, but it is pretty heavy on that side. But overall, like if you are okay with getting through that, then you need to see this. yeah, it's really something else.
This kind of like just swept all the festivals. Like as soon as it premiered, everybody was like,
yeah,
Brutalist,
and
Brutalist.
everybody's been talking about it for 6 months now.
We've been dying to see it.
I've been waiting to see it until it finally came out.
Worth
and
the wait.
certainly
Worth the 3.5
certainly
hours.
some recency bias and some like very large blind spots on my side with just like the amount of movies that I've seen and the influences on this movie, but holy cow, man. I mean, this is something like wonderful.
What a time to be alive.
Truly.
What a time to be alive. The Brutalist is here.
It is incredible.
And it is the Brutalist with an EST.
Yeah, I definitely think this is like a
Brutal.
10 out of 10 theater experience just for like the experience of seeing this in the theater, and for what it's worth, having the intermission in the middle of the movie and all that stuff. It's so cool.
Because usually that's kind of my gripe about going to see a long movie in theaters. I am going to have to pee, and okay, this actually kind of goes back to one of them days. I am notorious for, if I have to pee during a movie, picking the climax of the movie to go pee, because I'm just trying not to. I did it at the film festival. I went pee during one movie. It was Angel of Light. Missed the biggest plot twist in the world.
It's the worst possible time.
And went pee during one of them days. Came back. Apparently I missed like the big ratchet fight scene. I wanted to see the big ratchet fight scene. Anyways, thank you, Brutalist, for having an intermission so I could go pee.
Thank you, Brutalist, for having an intermission, because we should encourage more movies be that long with an intermission.
Yes.
So people can sit through them.
Yes.
Yeah, attention span is something sorely lost these days, and I'm very glad that
also,
people
what
are
a
able to lock
packed
into
showing
this.
on a Wednesday night.
Yeah. The premiere of this was almost totally packed. I mean, clearly the front row of the IMAX theater, that floor level IMAX stuff, is just there are memes about how funny it is to sit down there because it's just impossible. But It was totally packed. We got to sit with a couple people that we knew. I got to talk to some buddies after the showing, and it was awesome. So yeah, I must tell you to go see this movie. Now let's talk about the cast a little bit. So Adrian Brody plays the main character. His name is Laszlo Toth.
Adrian Brody is the main character. He is loud. He becomes that man.
Yeah, he. Very reminiscent of his role in The Pianist, which he won Best Actor for back in 2002. But good thing to draw from, for sure. Also a wonderful movie. Can be conversed about the director, but we'll have that.
What a
conversation
double feature that would be.
The Pianist and The Brutalist. Yeah, that would be.
The Pianist and The Brutalist. That's kind of funny.
That would be like a Billy Joel song or something. Guy Pearce is the best supporting actor nod from this. He's Harrison Van Buren. Felicity Jones plays Erzsébet Toth, who is Laszlo's wife. Joe Alwyn plays Harry Van Buren, who's the son of Harrison Van Buren, if you really need to deep dive into that.
Harry Jr.
But I mostly just wanted to say Joe Alwyn's name so Rachel would freak out when oh, he's in that?
You didn't even know he dated Taylor Swift until I told you.
Yeah, and thanks for that knowledge. I'm glad you told me after the movie. Rafi Cassidy as Sophia Toth, who's Laszlo's niece. They essentially, this starts off with Laszlo making it to America. He goes through Ellis Island in New York. He has made it past like several he's been in the concentration camps, has made it to America, has been separated from his wife and niece. He's meeting up with his cousin in America who's going to take him in, and they're going to figure out if they can get the wife and niece back. Long story short, he meets this wealthy benefactor and kind of like finds a meal ticket and is like, all right, I'm gonna work for this guy in order to be able to do my art in the way that I want to, while also making a good buck and also making connections that allow for him to get his wife and niece back. That's all I'm going to say about it. But it's amazing. It's really something. It's really an incredible spectacle. I want to talk
about, and they're both about actors. Number one, Joe Alwyn. Let's talk about it. The first scene with him, I was like, you can't decide whether you're British or American.
Yeah,
like he was trying to do like the almost transatlantic, but like he's British and it just was not working. But he figured it out. I was like, that first scene had me worried. I was like, I don't know if this man's I don't know. I don't think I've seen any
He
movies with
locked
him. I have
in.
not
He
seen
locked
Kinds of
in
Kindness or
after,
anything.
literally after that scene.
No, literally. Like I don't know. Anyways,
That's the
he
one
impressed
sketchy
me.
part.
I hadn't seen the trailer for this, which I'm glad I hadn't, because one of my favorite lines that Joe Alwyn delivered was in the trailer. He says, "Laszlo, we tolerate you." I love that. Like, and the shot is beautiful. Anyways,
It's incredible.
moving on to Rafie Cassidy, Zofia. I was not familiar with your game. I knew the face. She was in White Noise. She was in
she
Killing
goes
of a
hard.
Sacred Deer.
She
She was
goes
in
hard.
Tomorrowland. She was also in Vox Lux.
She goes hard and says like next to nothing in this movie.
But she be killing it. Girl's got some credits.
She went hard in this movie.
She's great.
There's been a lot of interesting talk about the script of this movie being locked about 7 years ago, and it hasn't changed much since then. And how that has affected, or more so not, the script based around the Jews and especially their journey back to Israel. It's been a very big conversation going into this movie of how like it's very non-reflective of this exact time where the sympathies lie on that. Anyway, I just
thought
wanted
it
to
was-
mention that.
I mean-
I think that's pretty interesting.
I'm trying to figure out how to touch on this without like really getting into any spoilies.
Yeah.
But basically, just watching Laszlo, like how his religion plays into just this whole thing in general, but like the way that he's designing a Christian church, and like I don't know, it was very, very interesting to see. Like every part of this movie is so freaking fascinating.
It's very philosophical. It's
Yes.
very self-reflective, and I mean very analogous of filmmaking and just the making of art and how that like crosses with commercialization and obsession and just all these exterior forces that constantly like try to batter down what the idea of your art is. And in the end, like, does that matter? Because sometimes the people that are closest to you will have a better understanding of what you were trying to do than anything. Yeah, I'm absolutely blown away by this movie. I would recommend anybody go and see this and like truly go and see it while it's in theaters, because it's not going to be the same experience if you
The
watch it when
theatrical
it comes to
experience
streaming.
is kind of god tier.
It adds to how massive this movie feels, because
Oh my
it
gosh, it's
needs to
just-
have that. It is necessary to have that
And
emotion.
it focuses
when you
on
go into
like when you really break it down, it focuses on such a small storyline. I just hit my mic, sorry. But like just the grandiose and like I can't, and these characters feel so real.
Yeah,
so
it's very amazing. I was just telling Emily off mic a couple minutes ago that this is a fictional story, and she was like, "What?"
No, like I guess the Van Buren name got
Yeah,
me, and I was
this
just like,
is-
"Oh, real people, cool."
Yeah, no,
Like-
it is truly
I
like
gaslit myself.
and honestly, I thought the same thing. Like going into it, I really thought that this was like an autobiography in some sense, but no,
No.
it is literally just these characters, very much like The Master, or very much like There Will Be Blood, and where it has like these great American moguls or
Yeah.
predatory personas and
Taking in the
that are just like 1% taking advantage. But it's amazing, and it is truly something that I think people will be talking about for a long time. I think history will be really kind to this movie.
and I love a good movie about obsession.
Yeah,
And this movie, everyone's obsessed. Everyone's obsessed with something.
There's a lot of like well-educated critic, like the very narcissistic side of criticism, where people are like doubting this movie's
I got distracted.
authenticity. Yeah, Darcy's sniffing at the door again. But I from my chair, from the experiences that I've had with movies and the few influences that I understood out of this movie, I really do think it is something pretty epic and pretty special, and especially for, you know, people of our generation to have something like this to look up to. I think it's awesome. So yeah, that's The Brutalist. So go see The Brutalist. I don't care who you are, go watch it. It is 100% something that you should experience, and it will enlighten you and confuse you and and make you sick and haunt you, but
I drove home
it is worth having
after
that.
this movie.
Yeah, I really did not know like what to do with myself after this movie, so I highly recommend it. that's the highest
So much
highest
processing.
prize I can give is that I did not know what to do with myself. Anyway, I am now going to talk about Wolfman. This is going to be cut in, so future Zach, go ahead and take over. In a world where men become wolves and wolves become men, the real question becomes, who will sit through an hour and 45 minutes of relatively mediocre horror? And the answer is, not I, said the little red hen. Hi, future Zach here. Warning past Zach, or present Zach. That the Wolfman is indeed not a very good horror movie. It is a perfectly middle-of-the-road horror movie, certainly one of the more mediocre ones that I've seen over the past couple of years. This comes to us from the director of The Invisible Man, which was hotly acclaimed on its arrival. So I'm a little bummed because I was expecting a little bit more out of it. The acting is fun. The set pieces are middling horror set pieces at best. There are a couple of good sequences, but overall, I think you can probably put it in the trailer. But now the wolves are knocking at my door because I was supposed to say that this movie was good or something. So help me, God! All right, well, thank you, future Zach, for talking about Wolfman. I'm glad that this movie
I'm here again,
is
guys.
terrible, like I thought. I don't know. Maybe I didn't say that. Future Zach, if you're going to break the timeline, don't say that this movie is good. I dare you not to say this movie is good. Anyway, thank you for joining us on the From Cameras to Couches podcast this week. We're back. We are so back. We're
Sorry,
trying to catch up on some stuff. The Silver Linings playlist, Silver Linings playbook will be coming up eventually. I promise we'll do that one next as our weekly highlight, and then we're going to kind of figure out what the schedule is going to get back on, because I will probably be solo next weekend. So we'll figure out how everything is going to go. But I'm planning on seeing Sing Sing at some point this week, which has just come back to theaters. Also, I forgot to mention this in the news, but it's also being showed to like millions of incarcerated people around America, which is really, really cool. I think it's
apparently
it's
there's
a great
this
idea.
like movie program that like is available in prisons and stuff like
It's
that.
like an education program.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Sing Sing is part of a release in
That's
that
great.
in that program.
I love
think
that.
That's excellent. And if that's what they were waiting for so long to re-release this movie back into theaters, if they were trying to secure that deal, I say good on them. But I'm very much looking forward to seeing this one, so I'll be checking that out this week. Also, Flight Risk, Mel Gibson's new movie, is premiering this weekend.
Is this the one with Mark Wahlberg?
Yeah, Mark
I don't know why I
Wahlberg
said
with
Mark
a
Wahlberg like that.
like a bald spot. It's going to be interesting. Presence, Steven Soderbergh's film, is also going to be coming out this week and is showing pretty widely. I did not expect this one to be showing as widely as it is, but I'm going to be able to check it out in a couple of different places. It looks like. I will also
What's this one about?
It's shot really interestingly, I think, from the perspective of a spirit that's haunting the house.
Okay.
It looks very digital and new age, but the 2-point perspective shots are really, really interesting. Anyway, I'm looking forward to seeing that. I will be seeing The Brutalist as many times as I can this week, in addition to that. So, and on that note, I bid thee a good week, and
adieu.
And maybe it is the journey, not the destination. Just a thought, Brady. Just a thought. Goodbye.